of vision loss for people over 55?
You know, my doctor told me a few years ago that I had macular degeneration and that it was progressing. So I've been vigilant about seeing an eye doctor. And I quit smoking. I eat foods that might help it from progressing any further.
Well, is there a cure?
No, well, there's no cure. There is hope thanks to the Foundation Fighting Blindness. They sent me a free information packet on current treatments, clinical trials, and the latest research on macular degeneration.
That is good news. I should have my sister call them. Do you have their number?
Yeah, sure. Their number is 1-800-BLINDNESS. That's 1-800-254-6363.
Great. I'm going to tell her to call the Foundation Fighting Blindness today.
$626,000 investors.
That's how many people SIP.
The following is a paid program. The views and opinions expressed are those of the program sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Spirit 1400 and its management.
Hey, Wayne.
What it do, Pat?
Man, Frederick Douglass said that it is easier to mold children than it is to fix broken men.
That's right, but we still gotta get our family straight.
You're right about that, man. Everybody deserves a second chance. So welcome. You're listening to Patrick Henderson Meet the People with my co-host,
Wayne O'Mara,
Lamitra Henderson Parker,
and Desi Alexander.
Whoa, put them seatbelts on,
cause we ready to roll, baby.
Patrick Henderson meets the people and sit back and enjoy the show. Cause when the people all come together
there's no stopping us. You already know.
Well, he got the last part right, that frog in the front of his throat. I ain't coming in there.
Y'all should have seen the look he gave me when that frog jumped out.
My choir member said today we got to do a seating arrangement in the choir, and they said, "Yeah, so we can't see your face looking at us." Which
need a mirror.
Exactly. I can't help it, y'all. I'm just a choir director from birth. I want it right, and we got to get it right, especially when we come in for the public. Bishop Blake used to say when I was minister of music, is don't get up here and rehearse on me on Sunday morning. Okay. That was my point to all choir directors. Don't rehearse on Bishop and nobody else up in here on Sunday morning. Welcome, teaching.
I apologize, family.
Welcome, teaching every one of you to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on Spirit 1400 and the Urban One Media family. We are so happy to be here with you. Please say hello to my co-host and we've got a stranger. We ain't had her on for a while, but please say hello to my sister who lives in Dallas, Texas, Lamitra Henderson. Are you there? She's not there. She hung up? Oh, okay. Well, we lost her again.
She calls back.
Hopefully she will. Yeah, maybe. There she is. Jason Alexander, co-host.
Why do you keep doing that? Jason Alexander.
I don't know, man.
I wish I had his money.
I know that's right. I don't know why I keep on doing it. It's just second nature. I called Meet the People, Meet the Press for quite a minute there. So don't feel bad. Jason Rodriguez, how are you today, sir?
Peace and blessings, Spirit family. Just want to say good afternoon to everyone listening around the country and around the world. I want to let you know that we are now streaming live on both Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. So you have different ways that you can see the Patrick Henderson's Meet the People radio program. And hopefully you'll be able to see all of us in living color, including Patrick Henderson in all of his glory every Sunday.
Yes, welcome. And please welcome my sister, Lamitra Henderson. How you doing, Lamitra?
I'm doing great. For some reason, the phone hung up.
Well, it did, and we getting.
Then when I called back 3 times, it said we're unable to complete your call. I got 3 times.
It's that stormy weather.
I know. I think she has a bad Wi-Fi or something because you hear that noise, and it's really cutting up. It's going. You can't hear it, Mitra?
Yeah. Let me call you back. I had called you on the number. I'll call you back.
All right. Well, as you all know, this has been one I almost said hell of a week, but when you consider what the possibilities are, it's going to be hell if we don't get out and vote this November. Seriously, we are in trouble. If they put this redneck, what is the word, Lord? I'm trying to keep.
I don't know. You better watch it, too, because you've been in Facebook jail over those words.
Yeah, I have. I'm going to try to stay saved, at least till I get out of here today with you all. But that guy Kavanaugh, is bad. He is bad. He wants to change our voting rights. Y'all heard what I said. The Supreme Court is already doing things to stop and let the Republicans change laws and do things that are just infringing upon our right to vote. That's the last thing that they want is us voting. So when I hear a black person say they're not going to vote because they don't see what their vote has gotten them, baby, I don't know, either you're too young to remember, but I'm not too young to remember. I remember going to them fountains and wanting a cool drink of water and the sign said for whites only. I remember going to the Coca-Cola machine and wanting a cold Coke and it said for whites only. I remember going to the doctor with my mom and we had to sit on another side of the hospital because it was whites on one side and blacks on the other side. I remember my father wanted to take us on trips to go visit our relatives and being afraid because he was afraid of being stopped by the police. I remember my mama saying it don't make no sense to go because if we have to use the bathroom, we'll have to go on the side of the highway. All of y'all folks that saying y'all not going to vote, I don't know what has gotten into you. You know, even if you don't believe your vote does any good, that shouldn't stop you from doing it. Barack Obama would not have been elected either time had not we voted over close to 95%. Black people, we elected Barack Obama. Don't let anybody, the white folks voted for him, what was it, 46% or something like that? It wasn't even 50% of them who voted for him.
And most of it was white women.
And exactly, it is us and young people, young whites, who put Barack Obama in the White House. So for you to sit up there and say that you're not going to vote because you don't see the difference it makes, you're just really self-serving yourself. And there's another word for it, but I'm going to try to stay safe because we on the air. That's what you're doing to your mind. It has nothing to do with reality. Demetri, that's a lot better. How are you, baby?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Oh, we're doing real good. We're hanging. It's wet here. It's going to be raining all the week, and it's 60. Same thing there.
Same thing here.
Yeah, I know.
We've been flooding.
Yeah, I read about that.
But is it time to build an ark?
Build an ark. You know,
no, it's not. No, not where I live. It's not. It's not flooding over here.
It's not.
But in Dallas, it is. Yeah, in Dallas, it's flooding.
Wow.
Yeah, we've been having rain for the last 4 days.
We've been having it for the next 6 days, and the temperature has dropped. And it said, I got out of my car. It's 61 degrees.
Well, that's what it was here this morning.
It was. Wow. Well, I tell you, for all of you all, now a friend of mine, his girl just had and I hate to say that, his lady, they're not married. So what you call it? It ain't because his name his baby
his boo.
either. His boo. Okay, we'll call it his boo. Just had a baby and she's in the hospital, and they came through and told them not to drink any water out of the fountains there, and they shut off all the water there in the hospital because Legionella is in the water because of all this raining.
Well, actually, it's isolated to the hospital. So I did do a little investigation.
You did?
Yeah. So it's something within the hospital's filtration system.
Oh, okay.
So it's not. Yeah, it's not citywide or city spread. And they actually released a statement to Fox 45 News confirming that it was something within their water treatment system. In their water treatment.
Well, I tell you what, let's just be safe. Don't drink none of the water. Drink bottle, and if you do drink it, boil it first, right?
Yeah,
that's about the safest way. Just don't play with it, you all, because this is Baltimore, and they'll do it, and they'll lie and say they didn't do it.
Well, what's interesting about that is when the brother called me, I'm thinking to myself, there's really no one to really report that to, or to speak about it to confirm anything. And then, what is the quality of our water, knowing that we've had all this rain, the treatment plants are probably running at full steam
or overflowing.
Right, we have an archaic infrastructure, you know, that hasn't been upgraded in centuries. So at this point, who is to tell us that our water quality is good except for the people that we're depending on? And they could be absolutely wrong in some cases. Like, for instance, what may be tested in the close proximity to proximity to the water treatment center may show that everything is all right. But when you get to the outskirts of the system, and you get to some of these more urban communities, more of these, you know, quote unquote ghetto communities, these communities that don't have new plumbing.
Sure.
Don't have the streets haven't been redone,
and they haven't. There's the whole just count the whole city.
Right.
Unless maybe you up in Roland Park.
Right, but those areas have been redeveloped. Those areas, in some cases, also have new infrastructure, new sidewalks, new streets, things of that nature, new sewer lines. But there's some communities that I know of that haven't been touched in years.
Oh yeah, man, absolutely. So the short of it is, do not drink the water. Just don't drink it until we got a good clearing for it. Now the bathing is another story. You can. I wouldn't. They said I was told not to bathe in it either. But you said it was just. They said it was just the.
It was just isolated to them. But Pat, I've lived across the street. When I lived on Robinson Street in the McElderly Park community, I lived across the street to one of the water department managers. And he used to tell me he spends easily $1,000 per month in getting water for his house.
What?
And he said that he has a water filtration system in his basement. That's just so that they could bathe. So there is definitely issues with Baltimore City's water that hasn't necessarily been identified. And it might be something that the community really needs to look at, doing some self-testing in certain zones and certain areas throughout the city.
This is really interesting, but I read that Baltimore has some of the best drinking water in the nation. I did read that. Now, I'm gonna go with you, Jason, because I know you read as much as I do.
Right.
But I heard we had some of the best drinking water because it comes from the reservoirs.
I'm going by what the gentleman that worked for the water department, he worked with the crew at nighttime, that when you had the breaks, he would fix the waters.
Okay, all right, I hear you. Oh, I like that. When you had the breaks, that means when your water was cut off, he come help you out. I knew he trying to say that on there.
But it scared me because I saw him bringing out all these bottles of water out of his car one day, and we asked him, why are you bringing out all that water? Don't you work for the water department? And he said, well, I wouldn't drink this water if my life depended on it.
Wow.
And he said, you should see some of the things. Yeah, you should see. And he kept telling me, you should see some of the things that they run into, because the lines will be broken for months underground before they explode and come into these massive.
Well, a lot of those lines are made from terracotta, which is a clay. That was meant to, we talking about the 1800s.
Yeah. Old. And even the aquifers, the water is fed from a big lake out in way up Loch Raven.
Yeah, depending on the neighborhood you live in.
Right, and that water trickles down into the reservoirs. Those aquifers and aqueducts haven't been really maintained or anything done again in centuries.
Right. Well, I tell you what, I'm not going to say it's the least of our problems, but it's just something you ought to be aware of.
Water
because my neighbor died years ago because she was in the paper and on television and she didn't see it, and she drank the water. They said don't drink it, and she went into a coma and never came out of it. So,
are you serious?
Yes, Miss Johnson, the lady lived down the street.
Right.
They told me that AIDS had taken all the fun out of sex.
Yeah.
I said, what you talking about, Miss Johnson? She was 98 years old. I said, what you talking about? You got to use protection now. She was 98 years old. You got to use protection. She was.
She worried about protection.
Listen, she was just still trying to get some. That's what it was. With her, it's a
straight. Nothing wrong with that.
It's an odd story. She was very young and she married him a virgin, and she never had sex with another man. And then she was old and gray and didn't nobody want none. And so she used to, it was sad. She was a sweetheart though. She smelled me cooking and she come knock on the door. What you in there cooking? And so we sit down and she would tell me stories. I tell you what, have me laying on the floor.
Pat, you burned some pans, I tell you that.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I love that lady. I ain't gonna call her name because some of y'all might know her. But just I thought of her when I thought about the water.
And we've had an issue a few years back. There was a senior center owned by the city that was evacuated because of Legionella in the water. But it actually came from the air conditioning system. A lot of times it comes from the air conditioning system.
Legionnaires normally come from the water, the air conditioning system. All right. Well, I don't want to take up a whole bunch of time, but y'all got it now. Just don't let the babies drink it, and don't you drink it, especially don't let the elderly.
Definitely stay away from the water in there.
Yeah. All right. The next thing is that this past week I went to. How many of y'all knew that Ben Jallis did a town hall here on this past? I believe it was Thursday at Bethel AME Church. Right, none of you. Very seldom, or not very few of you knew about it. And the only way I knew about it was Brother Smitty sent me the flyer. So I went to it. And I put it on Facebook. So if you want to go to my Facebook page, you can watch it. But I was shocked at the few people that were there, and the people that were there were people that were elderly. I bet you I probably was, no, I won't say I was the youngest. It was a few, me and Jallis was there, and there were a few younger people, but it was a graying community. No young people there. It wasn't packed. And they went through all of these things, and the questions that they asked Jallis were submitted by the membership. And they weren't softball questions.
So no open questions.
No open questions, but they were. So I sat there, and by the end of it, I realized they had not asked what I considered to be the most important question. And I stood up. I said, "What is going on here? Why is it that nobody has asked Mr. Jallis about the Policeman Bill of Rights? How can we go through a whole town hall and not talk about the cloud that is hanging over Baltimore that does not seem to go away because the governor and the Fraternal Order of Police are in collusion?" Oh man, they hopped up the pastor of the church. "You're out of order."
What?
Yes, he did. This is indecent. You're indecent, and you're out of order. And we won't answer that question. We're getting ready to have our benediction. I said, "This is unbelievable." So of course I got angry with myself and began to walk out the door. And after they gave the benediction, Ben Jallis raised up his hand and said, "Wait a minute. I want to answer that man's question. It's a very important question that he has asked. What am I going to do about that Policeman Bill of Rights?" He is against it. He has all intentions of changing it. He's going to find a way to do it. He is on it. He is aware of it. And he plans to do something about it. So then I on my way out the door, after I heard him say that, then, well, I ain't going to say who she was, but she was kin to the church's pastor. And she comes over and says, "I sense this spirit of confrontation in the Lord's house." I said, "Whose house? Whose house is this?" I said, "Whose house?"
You said that like Run DMC. Whose house?
Whose house is this? This is the Lord. I said, "No, this is the people's house." This is the people's house. This is where the people come to worship God. And if you don't think I'm telling you the truth, let the people not come, and this will be nothing but a beautiful building that you all maintain.
Or a parking lot.
Or a parking lot. These people are so caught up in some third heaven, they have become no earthly good, you all. We got to jack these church people up. We got to ask them, what are you here for? What are you serving? Where's your outreach ministry? What are you doing in the community staff in this little smug town hall with a few people who are the politicos, and not invite and not even tell anybody? When I mentioned the lady that we didn't know about it, she said, "Well, we didn't have the money to advertise." I said, "Lady, this is a public service announcement. You don't need nobody. You don't need to pay for no advertising." If somebody would have just sent a letter to the radio station and said, "We're having," because
put it on praise, they'd have put it on. They
put it everywhere. But look, what you people call the show all the time. How can we give money to Ben Jallis? Where is he? What is going on? And for those of you that want to know, go to benjallis.com. If you want to give money to him, because I'm reading in the paper that in the Sun says some Dems tepid on Jallis. Canada's strong national image isn't gaining traction here. Democratic gubernatorial nominee Ben Jallis is a rock star in national progressive circles. Bernie Sanders has endorsed him. He's been here over a couple of times. Kirsten Gillibrand, all these people. While some party leaders are working hard to elect him, some current and former Democratic leaders are keeping their distance, alienated by Jallis's left-leaning positions and several political missteps. Some have endorsed him tepidly, others not at all. Some are playing up their ties to Republican Governor Larry Hogan while officially remaining neutral. A few publicly back Hogan's re-election. Former Delegate Tim Mahoney is one of the latter, a veteran of Maryland Democratic politics who actively supported his party's gubernatorial nominees in O'Malley in 06 and Anthony Brown in 14. He's lined up this year behind Hogan. Now, y'all need to think about this. Why is that? I think it is because Hogan has been advertising for the past few months with money from the Republican National Governors Association, painting Ben Jallis as a beyond liberal, as a socialist, and as somebody that doesn't know what he's doing. when in reality, being jealous is one of the most respected black men in the nation because he was the one that fought to get the law changed about capital punishment. The what do you call it? The electric chair, whatever you want to call it. They're killing people, and because too many black people. What is that?
An attending.
That's Lamitra's line. Lamitra, we're gonna have to cut you off, baby. Your phone is doing some talking there. And not only that, you all, but as soon as Hogan got in office, you know what he did? You know, they have this law where if they take your property, the police can keep it without even charging you. And that was up for legislation. It was passed. The legislation had passed to stop from doing it. Do you know that Hogan vetoed that? Do you all know that Hogan is a member and is funded by the Koch brothers, the Koch brothers, whatever you want to call them?
And ALEC has been a member of ALEC.
ALEC is the organization that set up the Stand Your Ground law down there in Florida. Y'all know what Stand Your Ground law is. Trayvon Martin got killed. A man just got killed. A black man just got killed a couple of months ago from that Stand Your Ground law. Or y'all remember the black woman who was in a garage who did a shot up in the garage at her husband who had been abusing her for years. And she just got out of jail a couple of months ago. So when we do it, it's not Stand Your Ground. It's just a bunch of N-words doing something, hurting a white man and doing something we don't like because they're using guns. And so
and family, ALEC is really responsible for a lot of the oppressive laws and laws that tend to target young black men and young folks within urban communities around the country.
Not only that, but the unions. They are anti-union. That work, what is that, right to work? That is a farce. Without unions, y'all, without collective bargaining, we are dead, especially those of you who work in factories and large companies and stuff. If you ain't got somebody in there bartering for you and fighting for your position, you're going to be left up the creek. Without unions, there would be no 8-hour work days. Without unions, there would be no vacations. Without unions, there would be no child labor. Your children would have to go to work and work for pennies. So to think that they're against their unions, ALEC and Hogan headed up the organization that is their organization here in Maryland, which explains to me why he's against the HBCUs, because the undergirdment of that organization is racism.
And the governor didn't support the $15 an hour minimum wage as well.
No, he didn't.
And actually fought against the sick leave.
And not only did he fight against the sick leave, but the state legislature wanted to add $30 a month to senior citizens' checks so that they might have a little extra money to buy a couple of extra groceries. Do y'all know that Hogan vetoed that? This man is a Republican. He just said the other day that he would not charge the Maryland, what do you call them folks that be out on the highway patrol? Or the ones that the state troopers, he would not give them orders to investigate Kavanaugh. That's going for the Supreme Court that they're trying to put him on. A lot of y'all don't know. He can be stopped. You know how he can be stopped? Because Maryland does not have a law of limitations.
Statute of limitations.
A statute of limitations.
On sexual assault.
On sexual assault. So he
is a resident of Maryland.
He is a resident of Maryland, and if Mrs. Blessy, what's her name, Doctor? Oh God, why can't
Doctor? Isn't it May?
Ford. Her name is Ford.
Ford,
If she went and pressed charges on him in Montgomery County, that's the end of his nomination. Because they're not going to do nothing with him if he's being investigated for that. So it ain't over till it's over. But you can see how they're treating the women, the Republicans. All them Republicans are on that board for the committee to choose this man, and only I think there's 11 white men. Same way it was when Anita Hill. In fact, most of them that's on the committee now for the Republicans were the ones that made and talked about Anita Hill like she was a piece of trash.
And it's crazy, this standoff that happened this weekend with Senator Grassley. You know, giving Dr. Ford an ultimatum as to testifying. You know, and I'm glad that she stepped up and said, you know what, you put that ultimatum out there all you want to. I'm still going to testify and agreed to testify. And
when I
Monday,
can.
Right, and I believe Monday is
no,
when she's going to...
it's Thursday.
Thursday?
It's been moved to Thursday.
Okay, it's been moved to
Thursday. They told her Monday, and after Monday they was going to close it.
Right,
she said, I can make it Thursday.
Right.
And so at first they were saying, well, that's not what we want to do. She said, I can make it Thursday. Right. And guess when it's going to be? Right. Thursday.
Yeah, but it's crazy. These radical Republicans as well have threatened her life. Like her life has been threatened.
But wait a minute. They're threatening Dianne Feinstein. They even threatening the people in the Congress and the Senate. So my question was, how come the government don't have caller ID? Ain't nobody asked that question. How come the government don't have caller ID? So when somebody call and they say something they shouldn't be saying, they just call them right back and say, we're on our radio. Don't even tell them. They can find out where they live and go and arrest them. See, they want to use that as saying that, she's being terrorized. So it puts the fear in other people. I got call ID, baby. You call my house and I got cameras everywhere. Okay? And that's where we all got to live. It's sad. This is 1984. Just like Orwell said, we're living in something that we never thought imaginable. So for all of you all who are not thinking about voting for Jallis, there is a ploy to make sure that you don't do it. But I do believe that this man is brilliant enough. He has the experience enough. He's not going to be just for black people. He's going to be for the rural people too. He's going to be for everybody. He's going to be fair. And I believe he's going to make a great governor for the state to maybe finally start making Baltimore the jewel of the Mid-Atlantic, which
I just wish his campaign would just step up a little bit. This is a Mike Tyson fight, an Holyfield fight. This is not, some lightweight, Sugar Ray fight. This is a heavyweight fight, and he has to come out, ready to box against this governor who really feels that he has done this state well. And, he's only served a minority group, and he hasn't served the majority of the state.
Look at the lockbox he's talking about. There's already supposed to be a lockbox of sorts on the monies coming from the lottery.
But he's hoping that's going to appease those folks.
That's what he thinks is going to do. But y'all don't know is the money's been coming in for it, but he's been sending that money to the counties, to the rural counties. They're the ones got the best schools. They're the ones that's got the computers. They're the ones that's got the air conditioning. They've got and that money was supposed specifically for Baltimore, because 215 spends more money on the lottery than any other zip code in the whole state. Not in the city, in the whole state. 21215. Got to build relationships with them. But we had to fight too hard to get what should have been coming anyway because of what the law said. Y'all remember when they said they was going to bring it in here, it was going to be for the schools, it's going to be for the communities. But when we come up there, they want to see the blue vein in them. Y'all know I'm exceptionally dark. So they got to look a little harder with a magnifying glass to see that blue vein in my arm. Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition, as Brother Leo says. But I want y'all to take a look at this article on in the Baltimore Sun front page today, and I want y'all to start talking to your friends and your neighbors. We got to get rid of Hogan. We got to get rid of all Republicans. I know we say the Democrats disappoint us, but that's all right. We can get in there and beat them up. But Republicans act like we don't even exist. They don't care. They think it's more of them, and it is. There are not. There are more Democrats and independents than there are anybody. There are more Democrats than there are independents. Even in this religious organization, evangelicals, they're only 23%. What was it, 20 or 13% of the population? How do they get that much power with 13% of the population?
Because they will drag their mama, their grandmama, and everybody to that
go get folks out the nursing home
and vote and
try to dig them up out the grave and say, "Come on, rise." I'm being funny, but I tell you what, I don't know where they get these people from. But that's the kind of attitude that we've got to have. 18 years old, y'all know in the state of Maryland, people with a prison record can vote. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, and Maryland.
In the state of Maryland. So all of y'all.
Shout out to my brother Hassan Giordano for working on that legislation a long time ago.
And Christopher Irvin and those guys that worked on that. So you tell your nieces and nephews.
That's what Christopher Irvin and them did the revamp of it. That was those that were on probation and parole. They weren't allowed to vote. So you had to serve your time out. That was the original bill that Hassan Giordano and a lot of activists had came out with the first time that gave the rights back to vote. And then they restricted it, though. They said if you're still under probation and parole, you weren't eligible. Now it's as long as you're out of the correctional facility, you can be on probation or parole and still vote. Because you're paying taxes and you're back in the community.
Exactly. So then why we need to talk to brother what's his name, Bloom. and find out what they're doing. We need to get these young people involved, y'all.
Brother Boom, PFK Boom.
PFK, we got to get Brother PFK Boom. We need to see if you can talk to him, and he wants to come on and see what they're doing, to let all the young people know that have been in trouble, if they're thinking they can't vote, to know that they can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm telling y'all, the only way we're going to change this, and just to think they're saying that Dallas is too calling them a socialist, but America is social. What is Social Security? It's in the title. Social. That's socialism. We don't want to do it in the Republicans. Oh, that's socialism. They wasn't screaming socialism down there last week when they was up on the roof of their houses trying to get away from that hurricane, was they?
And asking for FEMA and the National Guard.
That's socialism.
Right.
So you see, they themselves, and because Democrats do, you rewind. You've been listening.
YouTube channel.
Yeah, and don't forget, tomorrow it's going to be a hot show. What we got on there?
We're talking about mothers that have lost their sons to violence in the street, as well as through the hands of the Baltimore City Police Department. We're hoped to be joined by Warren Brown's wife, who lost her son tragically in the BP gas station that we complained about many times.
Yes, we did before it happened.
Yes, before it happened.
So we're on it, you on it, we're in touch, you be in touch. We'll see you, and we'll hear you tomorrow at 11:30 on WOLB 1010 Baltimore and WOLBbaltimore.com. God bless. Say bye, Jay.
I love your family.
Love y'all. Have a great weekend, and be blessed. Bye-bye.
Please don't let the time you so be wasted on things that you later regret, wishing you never had, once you realize it wasn't worth it. Your destiny.
WWIN Baltimore, WWIN HD Baltimore.
On the web at spirit1400.com.
Spirit 1400, the spirit of today's gospel.
The spirit of today's gospel.